Ms. Reeves' Thursday planning meetings run 45 minutes. 4 teachers, sometimes Principal Chen. The meeting has a standing open question. Are the students making progress this week? When the answer is yes, the next question is, what is working and how do we do more of it? When the answer is no, the next question is, how did we teach it and what do we need to change? That second question is the more important one. It does not ask what the students are dealing with outside the classroom. It asks what the school did and whether or not it worked. The students' circumstances are real and the school knows about them, but they are not the question at the planning table. The question is, are the teachers producing results? In November, Ms. Reeves tells the group that her approach to fractions is not landing for about a third of her class. They are completing the assignments, but they are not understanding the concept. She can see the difference. The right answers are there, but they are arrived by memorization. When she changes the format of the question, the students are lost. They have not learned. Therefore, Ms. Reeves has decided to scrap the following week's lesson plan and rebuild it from the beginning. She describes what she thinks she got wrong. The sequence, the way she introduced the visual model before students had a concrete anchor for it, and what she intends to try instead. Nobody there treats this as a crisis. It is a piece of information, and this one requires a response. The response here is to change the teaching. Teachers at St. James are not evaluated on how hard they work or how many interventions they run. They are evaluated on whether or not their students have learned. A teacher who easily produces strong results is a teacher whose methods should be studied and shared. Effort is not the measure at St. James Academy, results are. Eastfield Elementary has grown. The school has added a family liaison position and a second reading specialist. It won a district award for its commitment to equity programming. It successfully piloted a social-emotional learning curriculum that 3 other schools in the district are now adopting. Its grant funding has increased in 4 of the last 5 years. Its reputation as a school that fights hard for its students, that refuses to give up on children other schools have written off, is genuine and well-deserved. However, its students' reading scores have not changed meaningfully. The students who pass through Eastfield carry something with them, a clear, well-documented, and institutionally confirmed understanding that they are somehow difficult. They believe that they are disadvantaged. They believe they need support. Some of them, the ones with strong families or the ones stubborn enough to learn in spite of everything, will be fine. But Eastfield itself has not moved them. It has processed them, carefully and with genuine care. Diane watches the children who come out of St. James. She has been watching them for years, before Jordan even transferred there. The students there are not smarter, richer, or from better neighborhoods, but they carry something different. They seem to know that they can succeed if they work hard, that they are resilient and capable of handling what the world has in store for them. Diane notices this in Jordan the year after he transferred. Now, Diane is not an education researcher, but she knows what she sees at the kitchen table. Jordan does homework without being asked. He checks out books from the library and reads them at dinner. He asks questions Diane cannot always answer, not because they are too sophisticated, but because he has become someone who has developed the habit of expecting that things can be understood. Their apartment is the same. Their neighborhood is the same. Jordan is the same kid who sat in front of Mr. Okafor for 2 years and did not learn to read. St. James has not fixed Jordan. There was nothing to fix. What has changed was the school's question, from does Jordan have enough support to is Jordan learning? And because St. James asks that question, because everything in their organization was built around that question, Jordan learned. In April of Jordan's 5th grade year, a group of graduate students in education policy visits St. James as part of a seminar on school performance in under-resourced communities. After a tour of the school and a look at the outcome data, they sat with Principal Chen in the conference room. One of the students studying educational equity asked the question she has been forming since she arrived. How do you serve struggling students without making them feel defined by their circumstance? Chen is quiet for a moment. By not organizing the school around it. You see, our students face real hardships. Anyone who tells you otherwise isn't paying attention to the neighborhood. But there is a choice every school has to make. Do we define our job by their hardship or by their learning? You see, if we define our job by their hardship, then every child who walks through our doors is a hardship to be managed. That is what they become in our files, in our expectations, and in the way we talk about them in meetings. St. James has made a different choice. Every child who walks through our doors is a learner, and that is what we expect them to become. One of the other students asks how the school measures that. We are looking to see if the students can do something at the end of the school year that they couldn't do at the beginning. This is the whole measure. It's not about how hard we tried or how many programs we've made available. We just focus on their learning. Principal Chen is not describing a philosophy. He is describing how the school is run. The mission statement on the wall near the front office is 9 words. Those 9 words are found in every decision the organization has made for the past 20 years. That same April, across town, Eastfield has received a significant new grant from a regional foundation focused on educational equity. There is a small ceremony in the school lobby. Local press attends. Principal Warren thanks the foundation board, describes the programs the funding will support, speaks about what her students deserve and what this investment will make possible. She is accurate about everything she says. The need is real. The programs will be implemented carefully by people who care. However, nobody at the ceremony asks what Eastfield's outcomes will look like. Nobody asks whether the programs from the previous grant improved them. The grant is justified by the need, and the need is always there. The question the foundation did not ask, the question no grant application, no equity framework, no district review has ever required Warren to ask, is the one that would change everything. What are your results? Now, this is not a failure of Warren's character. She is leading a school that has been built over many years and by many hands to respond to a question: are we supporting the students enough? This is different from a question that would determine whether or not the school is doing its job. The question being, are the students learning? And an organization built around the first question will never develop the capacity to face the second. The ending to this story is a quiet one. Eastfield Elementary does not collapse. Principal Warren does not have a sudden epiphany in the parking lot. The school continues as it has for decades, doing efficiently what it has always done, supporting student needs. But over at St. James, Jordan can read now. He is in 5th grade but reads at a 7th grade level. He wants to know how elevators work and whether or not sharks can really smell blood from a mile away. The school Jordan left could not produce this result, and yet the school Jordan found could produce nothing else. The end. The point of this story is not that Eastfield's teachers don't care. They do. It is not that the problems their students face are exaggerated. They're not. The point is what happens when an institution mistakes its effort for its purpose. Both schools care about Jordan. Both were staffed by people who chose this work for the right reasons. The difference between them was not compassion, it was not resources, and it was not the ability or the dedication of its people. The difference was the mission and the resulting question. Eastfield asks, are we helping enough? That question has no final answer. The hardship is always real. The need is always greater than what any school can provide. An institution built around that question will spend every year adding programs, writing grants, and carefully documenting everything it has tried, and will never develop the mechanism to ask whether or not any of it actually worked. St. James, on the other hand, asked, "Are they learning?" That question has a specific answer, and at the end of each year, whether or not a student could do something they could not do before is clear. Either the teaching produced results or something needs to change. An organization built around that question will spend every year adjusting and correcting, because learning is the result it exists to produce, and it is built to know when it is not producing it. The mission you define is the result you deliver. This is true of a school, it is true of a hospital, a government agency, a research laboratory, any institution whose job is to produce a result in the life of a person it serves. The difference is not philosophy. It is what shows up in the planning table, in the questions that get asked, in what gets changed when something is not working. Jordan learned to read. That is the result. It happened in the school 1 block away from a school where it did not happen, and a child who was the same child in both schools, and teachers who are equally capable and equally committed to both. The variable here was the institution. The variable was the questions they asked. The variable was the mission. Story interesting and helpful? I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for your time and attention. I'll see you next time.